Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Tania Davies. I'm the Success Slow Coach, speaker, trainer and therapist, and owner and founder of the Mindful Impact Wellness Hub. I am very delighted today to be bringing you a wonderful interview, I'm sure it will be, with Audrey Muliva. How are you doing, Audrey?
Hello, Tanya. Yes, I'm doing well today. Thank you.
So for those that have not seen Audrey's beautiful face before, Audrey is actually a speaker's coach. She's also a digital and wellbeing consultant. Now, Audrey, we've met each other through the speaking arena in South Australia, but I'd love you to actually give my audience a bit of an idea of who you are, what you do, and the clients you work with.
So I've got two avenues of work. So the speaking coaching. So it's from my past few years being in the speaking arena. I've been doing a lot of stage presentation and online, and therefore people start coming to me and explaining like, okay, would you be able to help me? Would you be able to help me explain my story in order I can and I can be in some kind of power there? And I was just like, yeah, sure. So it started really intuitively. And I realized I was attracting people that were healers, that were on the spiritual path, who really wanted to share their healing stories. So I decided then to focus on this type of people. And on the other side, my speaking topic has been digital well-being, which at the time I was calling online health before it was labeled digital well-being.
Yes.
And I managed to find finally a certification to help me understanding the full banner of what digital well-being is about. And I've learned what's called the digital wellness flourishing. So the digital flourishing model,
Yep.
which is literally from digital citizenship to anything to do with addiction and disconnection and relationship online. So it's really wide, and I've decided to focus on two aspects: working with parents who have issues with their teenagers when it comes to
Yes.
how they interact and what they grab from the online world, and also working with empaths, so against the healing aspect, people who are online entrepreneurs but can get really overwhelmed where they are online, and helping them to put in place healthy digital habits in order they can manage to be online.
Yes, absolutely. Look, I totally agree with you. There is such a need for what you do in that space. As somebody who's very quickly learning that my tween, or soon to be tween, is out there in the big world of online, it is scary as a parent. And I'm really glad that there's people like you out there that are actually helping guide us down that path. So thank you on behalf of the parents that you're working with. I'd also like to have a bit of an idea of what it is that you have come to learn from the slow movement. How did you actually, in your life, whether it was the universe stopping you abruptly or whether you chose to consciously slow down, what's your story from the slow movement?
I've had a few instances when the universe showed me that I needed to slow down. And I would probably share the one of the first instance. So at the time I was in engineering school, so I was in my early 20s, and I had compounded fatigue, emotional and physical, from running the student association of my school. So it was quite a big school, over 3,000 students, and I was the vice president. So there was a lot of work around that while doing engineering schools, which is not like uni, it's like 55 hours of schooling per week plus assignments. And I got to the last year, we've already compounded fatigue. And the last year is when you have to do a lot of extra curriculum projects, find a work placement, all this kind of thing. And I came to a point that I was keeping going. I didn't want to give up. I keep going. Like you get to the end. And I started having fever, up to 40 degrees fever. In average, it was 39 degrees fever, and it lasted for over 4 months.
Wow.
I did all the exams and everything. I had no infection, nothing like this.
Yeah.
And so I went through my exam in that state. It was quite a challenging times, and as it happens, I was not really myself. Like, everything was going over my head. That's what happens when you get into low physical states. And therefore, the people I was dealing with didn't really appreciate the change of, from being the really hardcore doing person to not being able to deal with anything. So it created some issues. I will keep it that way. But what the universe told me is that I was to a point I was actually facing having to redo my year because some of the people in my project group were feeling I was not doing as much, and there's a lot of things like that happening. Even if I was still doing my share from the hospital as well, that was fun. Yeah. But let's say that I actually had all the evidence, I had all the reports from the doctor explaining that I was in that state. And I remember just not being willing to fight, which was really unusual for me. I remember that defined moment. I was with all the paperwork and like about to defend myself, like in front of the director of department, and I just never could knock the door. Yeah. And as the universe works out, there was a beautiful work placement being displayed in my school to work on a project to develop ice cream cakes for a big American ice cream brand. Everybody applied for it. I got it. Wow. And you tell yourself, I had this moment like, okay, so I'm going to fight on something I feel unfair while doors are opening for me. Yes, physically, I'm still not great. And as it happens, as soon as I left school, I actually finished my studies and managed through. Yeah. I started a work placement. The symptoms did appear. And by then I had decided I had to slow down because I was physically incapable to be at the speed and the pace I used to be.
That's a pretty good thing, isn't it?
Yes, and it's only few months later down the track that I actually got diagnosed what they call a physical depression.
Physical depression. Wow.
Yes, my mental didn't want to give up.
Yeah.
So my body did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, what a unique story. So it's really interesting because I reflect on that, and there's a lot of students out there that, my husband works at the university and I hear it all the time. People just pushing so hard. They think that the more they're doing, the better it's going to get for them. And, I used to be like that. I was the crazy, overachieving student. I've been there, done that. And it had horrific physical repercussions for me, just like you've explained. But I'm really curious to know, why do you think people find it so hard to actually slow themselves down, especially the busy professionals out there?
I think it's because we have really been conditioned in this idea that our self-worth is linked to what we achieve or what we do. So there's not much recognition on a social level for just flowing with life. And in that sense, we put enough pressure on ourselves, depending which type of family you were raised in. But I was putting a lot of pressure on myself naturally. So when the pressure just adds up from expectation on social recognition, and quite often that's what we get trapped into. Yes, it's naturally that we want to deliver and deliver and deliver to the cost of our health. And I've seen it around all the people I worked with before, but I used to run quite a big teams, and I could see the first symptoms, the first sign of people just starting to drop. Yes. that they had pushed too far. And it was interesting to see the response to them, like me as the manager coming to them and say, okay, you're gonna have to take some time off.
Yeah. And
it was this kind of like, what do you mean? Like, I can function. No, yes, maybe you can still function, but it's getting to a point that it's a care factor for you. It's not about anything else. And that was not really something that they could even accept hearing.
Yeah.
It was this kind of, when we get this type of feedback, we're like, but I'm fine, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And
we feel back, don't we? It's like, I'm not weak, I can still do this.
So yes, I believe it's really counterintuitive for a lot of people to slow down.
Yeah.
However, I can sense now that we have shifted in terms of on a cultural level, and it's becoming really clear that the old doing way is not getting us to really to really succeeding on all levels.
There has to be that balance between the doing and the actual being. You
Yes.
have to give yourself permission to just be for a while. And that's a hard lesson I've had to learn in my life. I'm sure many people listening have too. But I'm really curious to know, in terms of the people that have influenced you the most in your world, when they've brought forward to you the conversations, just like you have done for others, what has been the best evidence for you, the best advice that they've ever given you about the need to slow down?
Well, actually, there's two people that have been quite important for me. One being my mom. My mom always saying your health is number one. So if you start going down, that's the key that you have to stop.
Yeah.
So she's always been really, really insightful.
Just we listen to that though.
Yeah, well, that's another story. But one of my first spiritual teacher, which she's American, and I got the chance to meet her in Massachusetts back in 2019. Her name is Gabrielle Bernstein, and she has a little saying, really simple, like speed up by slowing down, which is literally we speed up on all the different levels of our being once we have realized that this continuous strenuous way of wanting to do more is not getting us anywhere. Yeah. That's really a level of awareness that we have to reach first.
Absolutely. As the success flow coach, that's what I'm teaching people every day in here, about how much more productive you become when you give yourself that opportunity to slow down. They just can't see it through the haze of their busyness. But interestingly, what are those personal tools that you use to slow you down?
I've got a full toolbox by now.
let me hear them. Go.
So number one is breath work to really slow down my nervous system. Yes. And there's been tapping as well that I've been using a lot for calming anxiety that I can still rising up at times. And it's normal to feel anxious, like we pick up on a lot of things around us, not always within ourselves, yes. But it's really important to be aware of it and be able to tap on it straight away.
Yeah, and COVID has also raised anxiety levels more.
Yeah, so. There's a little bit out there. It's a bit heavy. It's a bit heavy at the moment.
It's baseline for people at the moment, but yeah, keep going.
So, but what I've found that combines all of this for me as being Kundalini yoga. So it's a yogic technique which is really based on motion, a lot of motion, but a lot of breathing while in motion. So it's something that unlocks energetical levels, yes, and then enables you to have that balance. So literally just a half an hour. It's quite cardiovascular as well because of a lot of breathing that is. And it's kind of, it took me a while to kind of get to the level of being able to breathe on this type of pace as well. But I do feel the difference. It's just literally, it helps clears your mind like meditation does. It's just an extra anchor point that you focus on in order your mind can find some space.
Yes, Kundalini is quite powerful, isn't it? Mm. Yeah. So I'm interested with everything you know, especially being a coach, with everything that you've been through, what is it you still have the greatest challenge with when it comes to slowing down?
Is that FOMO, that famous FOMO?
It's real, people. You're missing out.
It is just, we live in an age that we have so many opportunities, so many access to so many things that we wouldn't have been able to tap into like just even a few decades ago. Yeah. And it's being open, but also being mindful. So it's literally this conscious decision making, even if we're going to miss opportunities. So it's being okay and accepting that I'm consciously missing this opportunity because I know that I will take too much on. Yeah. So it's literally always readjusting your load. And yes, and just dealing with this guilty, uneasy feeling of FOMO, which is I believe spread quite wide across.
We used to refer to it as keeping up with the Joneses, and now it's turned into FOMO. So yeah, look, I'm really interested, Audrey. You are a highly successful business professional, and you have been for a long time now. I would really like your insight as to what can happen when an organization would seriously take conscious leadership and really slowing down. When they take that seriously, what do you personally believe are the benefits across the whole entire business chain when somebody from the top actually does make that first move in slowing down?
Yes, it gets so much power. And I believe that it's starting to have a shift, but we need to see more of our leaders out there who start being in their beingness. So less talking,
Yeah.
and more listening.
Yeah.
And applying active listening, like when you learn about management and giving feedback, and everybody teaches about active listening, but how many of our leaders out there are actually taking that and applying this? I believe that if we were to have leaders who were more in their beingness, there would be more calmness, less anxiety being spread across, less blaming, there'd be more in acceptance from the moment you're in being.
Absolutely.
And letting a chance for people to find their boundaries as well, rather than dictating what is good for everyone.
Yes.
And instead of spreading this neediness, this FOMO and all of this.
Yeah, I like that, the neediness. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there is a very big, you're right, there's a very big difference between being a manager and being a leader. And we really need the leaders to lead. And that's exactly what you've said. They need to lead by example. So as we start to wrap up today, I would love for people to know exactly how they can actually reach out to you, especially those people that need help in the coaching space in terms of their speaking, but also those people that are looking to have a much better understanding of what net healthing is and what you do as a digital consultant.
So with the speaking coaching, the easiest way to reach me is on Facebook, on my Facebook page, which is Audrey Muliva, and it's the speaking coaching.
I will put that down in the comments for everyone.
Yes, that would be simple. And for net healthing, so I'm revamping everything, but I've already a website. There's a few little podcasts and things that you can get your head around.
Yeah.
And I'm crafting some digital well-being programs now. First to tackle the overwhelm, so get over the online overwhelm first. And with the parents on my Facebook page, there's a lot about teenagers and informations, and there's so much content already out there that I'm being pointing out. Like as I'm doing my research, I've been sharing a lot of what I'm finding.
Excellent.
So I'm gonna really focus on the empath and the parents, and at the moment I've shared a lot for the parents. So LinkedIn is also a good place to find both aspects of me.
Beautiful.
So yes, I'll share all of that with you if you can place that.
Thank you so much, Audrey. I've really appreciated speaking with you today. And on behalf of the parents that are actually going to be very quickly going and looking for that information, I think what you're doing in the digital wellbeing space, I think, is so fundamental. So thank you for that. And once again, thank you for your time. And everybody, if you'd like to actually get in contact with Audrey, you've heard how to do it. Check out the comments and in the description as well. Like, share, and spread the love. And we will all see you very soon. Thank you. Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you, Tania.
Take care.